Hey, good evening.
How are you?
Oh, did you listen to Bruce tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, things are rolling along. If the sovereign's got paid, then, things are truly rolling.
Well,
Um,
that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, it just kind of falls in line with what we've been hearing for the last week or two, except, like you said, the domino fell.
Yes.
And what else? The change over from the USD to the USN, that's behind the scenes, so
Yeah.
pretty hard to confirm that.
Yeah. And you know, the world's not going to see that. I mean, there's just a lot of transition going on behind. I mean, if people knew what was going on, they would get extremely nervous. The
Oh,
stock
yeah.
market would drop out, and I mean, there'd be huge sell-offs, and because they don't understand, they don't.
Oh, yeah. It's uncertainty brings fear and panic and selling and everything else. Sure.
So everything has to be done in a very methodical, slow, and hardly noticeable. I mean, before you know it, the only thing that people will notice is all of a sudden they got money that they never had before.
Right. Well, it's rolling out to the public slowly through, our hands. But the other thing I kind of gather is it's really about making sure everything's working along the way.
Yes.
If they
Yes.
flipped the switch at once and there were, a couple thousand things going on and one or two of them held it up, then there could be real trouble.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cutting your risk. Yeah. So that's what I kind of took away. And I look at Tuesday, Wednesday as the day for the start for the world because we're all on even playing field on those days. So, in the news, we see that Cuba is going to change its monetary system, and their peso will be equal to the dollar. They're moving away from the communist system.
I thought that was very interesting. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And people aren't going to think anything of it. Oh, wow, okay. So, okay. They just don't understand. It's over their pay grade. It's over my pay grade. It's all of our pay grade. It's
That's right.
yeah. There's no other way to
Most of the
explain it.
monetary stuff is, and you can get a kind of a general overview description by somebody, and then someone can come in and bring in all kinds of other details about the mechanics of how this works and that works, and then you feel like, oh man, I don't know anything, and I'm confused all over again. That's how it's been for me anyway. But the more time you spend with something, the more you learn. Let's see what else. Well, we got Donald Trump in Dallas on Saturday, the 17th. Will JFK Jr. show up, or be presented? We'll see.
Oh boy, yeah, yeah. So you can kind of see how this could all dovetail together.
Yeah, that's right.
Take a look at what's happening to, and this has been going on for several days, and in the back news about Biden and the Biden family. I mean, that's got to come out. The mainstream media. So they're going to have to talk about that. They're going to have to talk about if it is JFK Jr. going to be announced on the 17th. We're going to be getting paid about the same time. I mean,
Right.
you see how this is it's all going together now. You heard Bruce talk about making sure we have, the food distribution could be disrupted for a couple of weeks, or was it a couple of days?
I don't know. I was listening close enough to catch that.
It was right toward the end, very, very end.
I missed it.
He went away talking about this gal Susan or whatever her name is, and then he about her $165 program, and then then he went back to about talking about make sure you have enough provisions, you have enough food on hand in case.
Oh yeah, there's been that talk about we could hit that one of those days of darkness, if you will.
Yeah, and the internet could be shut down, but nothing firm on that. It's now it's going away. No, like Holly said, that was a fear mongering with the deep state on the internet shutdown.
Yeah, and on the other hand, it's not that overwhelming, and it's just a good thing to be prepared anyway.
Well, and
we take that.
We do know that social media is going to just drop. I mean, they're going to just close it down. That's
And that could be where we get the emergency broadcast system. We might have martial law. Hillary gets arrested. And again, playing into that scenario that I look at as a possibility that we just in martial law we cancel the election.
I mean, look, now at the same time they're uncovering Obama and Biden with the Benghazi, and
that's right.
And then those SEAL.
All of those.
I mean, it's all at once. I mean, it's over here, over there, and it's just kind of coming together. I mean, it's
well, that's also prepping the people, kind of hinting around this, that, and the other, and then they'll reveal. They'll do the declassification, or it'll somehow surface.
And don't forget about Flynn.
Many people can see it.
That's on the edge of being brought out too, and him being released. And then he's got things that he's going to tell and release. I mean, it's just it's.
That's part of distraction and cover for us. And I think meeting the requirements of the elders, as we've been told, to go along with that.
Well, and at the same time, all of this has taken place.
What?
JFK Jr. is being announced.
Yeah.
And maybe is that the trump card? Is that the trump card?
That could very well be.
I mean, what is the trump card?
Well, is it related to COVID, and the solution? That's been one of the thoughts out there.
Oh, yeah, that's something else I didn't mention. Yeah, what about some people say that Trump was on the med bed, and doesn't he look younger, and he's lost weight? Well, I got something to tell you. I don't think you lose weight that fast.
No.
Everybody's speculating, but I do know one thing. There is just too many things. I mean, just write it down on paper, all these things that are going to be taking place, and it's like, talk about overwhelming. And then at the same time, people's debts get forgiven because we've already switched over to the gold standard and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
I mean, somehow this is all done.
They do it all time so that people are happy, when they want them to be happy. Let's put it that way. They can time all the emotional triggers and so on with all these events, and offer a smoke screen for us if that's what they want. If they want us that quiet, then they'd sure like to give us a little help by, keeping people's minds elsewhere should anything come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, one of those long serials like, The Rich and Famous or Dallas that was on for years, and then finally you find out, who gets killed and who did what. But, you had to go through all that to get to it. That's kind of what it is. It's the finale.
Wow.
Yeah. I did notice in the news that on Fox News that progressives are calling for Dianne Feinstein to step down, but I didn't listen to the story. I found that interesting. Progressives, that's on the left.
and they're trying to get Pelosi to resign. Who was that
Yeah.
that's put together a?
Yeah, well, even Wolf Blitzer was arguing with her on TV about not helping out the people with, installing
Oh, I saw that
or
too.
digging her heels in and all that. So that was interesting. Wolf Blitzer standing up for, everyday Americans. Wow. What's all that about? or are they, have they agreed to follow a script and they're going along with it?
Okay,
You know.
with all the pressure that's put on with the Bidens, everything that's being released,
Mm-hmm.
how in the world can there even be an election? Remember how
Well, that's a very good point.
I've been talking about I don't think we're going to have an election?
Yeah.
And as everything that's coming together, how in the world can there be an election?
Well, I think that we're going to see. It's also. I think they might have set it up so that there will be disruption right around the end of the month, and that'll negate the opportunity for an election.
And I still think we the corporation bankrupt, the corporations shut down. We convert over to Jassara. We're now the Republic, and then we announce 120 days, and there will be a real election.
Right. Right. That's the way I think it'll work. So we are Jassara compliant if you follow that.
Yeah.
That's a factor that's certainly in play.
I mean, there's just too much that's been released this last week. I mean, did you listen to Scott Sunday? I mean, as he's going through and reviewing all this stuff right up to the present. I mean, goodness sakes.
Oh yeah, it's been building up. They've just been sitting on it.
Just
The Epstein angle, and Hillary and her emails, and there's Julian Assange and his information, and what NSA has, the goods, and Barr and Durham and the others.
I
Yeah.
I think it gives you a headache thinking about it. I mean, just what we've talked about here since I called you. I mean, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so, how in the world is the American people? I mean, they're going to learn about this all at once. I mean, we've been getting it drip by drip, daily by day, and there's got to be the complete shutdown, blackout, and emergency broadcast system and education at the same time. Debts are going to get paid off, mortgages paid off, and people are going to. Nobody's going to do anything. And then there's arrests going like crazy. All these Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the major arrests. I mean, there's no one to. I mean, they've got nobody's paying these people anymore, so they're discontent. Oh, the government's paying us money now. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to quit this employer over here that's telling us to go out and start fires and burn businesses and. No, he's not so bad after all. We've been lied to.
Yeah. Well, they're waking up. More and more. Over time, eventually people do wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it enough time.
So,
yeah.
And so much of this we're seeing, it's like, wow. It's breathtaking. And yet, I'm telling you, I'm talking to dealers today. I've talked to one dealer. He says, we just can't keep the cars are just going out here as fast as we can keep them in. I mean, look at the stock market. And in the midst of turmoil, people are going crazy.
Yeah.
They're buying. I've got a motorhome coach here. It's $80,000-$90,000. It's a nice rig, mind you. But I've just been busy. And it's out here. And my ads aren't being, because it hasn't really wound up, but there are people just driving by on the street. This one guy says, man, I had a hard time. It took me 15 minutes to find out how to get to, so I could look at this motorhome, because there's a huge big wall between me and the main street and the street that runs in front of Walmart. So it's a good place to expose it. And it's funny. And you know what? Nobody... It's like, I'm paying cash. I'm not financing. I mean, It's unbelievable. I mean, you would think everybody
It's
would hoard.
interesting because I've been tracking certain areas, the real estate market, and it's pretty dead.
Well, it's not dead around here, I'm telling you. I mean,
Oh,
prices, my son's made offers on several places and he's competing. It's like a bid. It's a bid up.
oh,
My lot has gone up in price 50,000 in the last 6 months.
oh,
And I'm not selling it, but I mean, this is what the realtors are. They've got 44 homes in a population where they normally have 300 homes. They've only got 44 homes and they got 88 offers.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you start out at asking price and ends up selling for $50,000 more. Now, maybe a whole different story in California. California is so screwed
Yeah,
up.
it's well, sure, and it's local. All real estate is local.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it's all about your location.
Well, and see,
Yeah.
people are moving out of Seattle. They're moving out into other parts of the state. It's just like New
There you
York.
go. Sure.
They're moving to Texas. They're moving to any of the places that look attractive because they're working out of their home. They don't have to work in a skyscraper anymore.
Well, that reminds me of what a friend said, that people were moving out of LA up into an area called Lake Isabella, which is maybe, I'm going to say 100, 150 miles away
Yeah.
out in the country. You know, he was seeing that just by visiting up there and hearing what the locals are saying. So, that was all about the COVID thing and being fed up with their situation.
Well, it's fighting traffic. If people are learning that they don't have to go to the office anymore, they're encouraging people to stay home, work out of their home. Guess what? Everybody's looking for bigger homes that have office. They need an office for him and they need an office for her. And so it's changing the
That's
whole
true.
dynamics.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And then the kids,
We're changing our attitudes.
yeah,
The opportunity's always been there, but now people are saying, "Oh, they're gravitating to it." Yeah.
so now all the commercial, the office buildings where people go to the office, now they're empty. So I feel sorry for these people that own commercial property.
Oh
Duh.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
they say
Yeah, the
that,
life is going to change. I believe that most people we're going to see a greater number of people move out into small town America, out of the countryside.
exactly,
For
exactly.
the reasons you mentioned, and life is simpler, and the quality of life might be better.
And
And
the big
different,
thing,
you know?
the big thing is okay. You got to have a multi-room house. You got to have, instead of a 3-bedroom, you got to have a 5-bedroom because 2 of the bedrooms going to be office. You got to have a high-speed internet. I mean, screaming fast,
Right.
because you need it for Zoom and all these online because you're communicating with multiple people all over the place. Of course, this is going to hurt the airline business because there'll be a lot of people that won't be flying. However, that may
Right.
change too because they may have to fly to the office once a month, just
Right.
kind of touch
I agree with you.
and they're not going to be at home all the
It
time.
isn't erase everything, but it does make a big difference, a dent in all that. Yeah.
The new normal.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about the new normal.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's just like after World War II. How did everything change about after World War II? And then after the 70s, when they went from the gold standard to the fiat system, all of a sudden, guess what? Both families now, both husband and wife have to work to make ends meet because the dollar's getting worse. Less everything's costing more.
Yeah, that's right.
And now it's getting to what we're seeing here is the bubble is bursting, but nobody knows it's bursting.
Yeah,
They
well, if you listen to the pundits, they'll tell you the market is going up, and it's only mostly a few companies that are holding it up, along with the Federal Reserve print machine,
Yeah.
because economically speaking, they're claiming that the companies are making less money than they ever did.
Okay, let's talk about the reset. Along with the reset, it means that a loaf of bread isn't going to cost $8 anymore. It's going to cost $2. A gallon of gas isn't going to cost $3.50 anymore. It's going to cost 35 cents because your
Well,
dollar's
that's what
worth
Visitor
more.
was saying. We're going to go back to about 1970
Exactly.
purchasing power.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
where pricing will probably go.
And your income,
Well, as I've said, though, we don't know how much more gold we have now than we thought we did then and all that kind of stuff. But that's a general idea, with the dollar.
well, what they don't know is that there's been a lot of gold that has been repatriated and given back because
Right.
it's been stolen over the years.
That's right.
I mean,
That's
it's
right.
coming out of the Vatican, out of London, out of Philippines. All this gold that was ours and negotiated away. What I found to be very interesting is that 150 billion or 52 billion that Obama sent over to Iran to shut them up because of the killing of the 6 of the SEALs, because they switched out what's his name, the terrorist, which by the way was proven to be dead a year or two before that, or he died of a
Oh, yeah, Bin Laden. He
Bin
died of
Laden, yeah.
disease.
And so now they say
Understand.
we've got the
Yeah.
and so they took. Well, then what happened? The SEALs got out and they said, "Oh dear, we didn't kill Bin Laden, and we're in trouble."
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they got shot down. Somebody took them down, and they got all the proof. Biden and the whole Obama administration knew about it, and they've got it on tape. They
Right.
retrieved
That's
it
what
all.
I'm hearing.
I mean, come on. I mean, look at it. I mean, everywhere you
Sure,
turn.
well, it made sense. How come all those people died? I mean, that was supposed to raise a lot of questions if anyone was paying attention back then.
Oh my
How
goodness.
come they're all gone?
And
And
it's,
that's kind of like a smoking gun now. Who pulled the trigger? So, yeah, so all this stuff is coming around. I want to bring up Ben Fulford's thing today on COVID. It touches on Japan and how they were being threatened and so on, and that's why Abe has stepped down. But more interesting to me was how Pope Francis has been kind of working for the good side, and Prince William, and they're all kind of turning like, we got to make the world a better place, and we got to stop this environmental destruction, and do something as big as anything that's ever happened since World War II kind of approach. And but Fulford, I kind of changed the subject here, but he is debating in his mind whether Trump, which side of whether he's playing a good white hat or a black hat, because he's bringing in vaccinations, which the dark side wants too. Only I'm thinking, well, if Trump is a good guy, he's playing it their way, and I suppose that, he's going to have a safe vaccination, let's hope. But anyway, he's debating that, and I think that's a very healthy debate, because why is Trump pushing the vaccination thing when, the microchip and all that stuff was introduced? It's just another issue. But Pope Francis apparently is, and he talks about some of the intrigue inside of the church, the Vatican, with the money. There was a guy named Pell who was a whistleblower, and they tried to move him out, and then the court said, no, you can't do that. Now he's back in there, and I think he's helping to clean up the Vatican.
oh,
Kind of interesting, deeper level of storytelling, anyway.
there's so many things.
And,
There's so many things coming
Yeah.
through my brain. I'm looking at the telegram here on where we go on, we go all, and I mean, I'm telling you, it's like, okay, I give up. I'm turning off the computer, and I'm just, I can't.
Well, I know, there's just too much. You see, it's like trying to listen to everyone talking in the world in one day. It's like, how do you put it all together? We're talking about over periods of, weeks, months, years, going back, trying to follow the thread inside this large tapestry that we live inside.
Yeah.
That's really it. I know. And that's why someone writes a history book and they tell you what World War II was in about 4 or 5 pages. That's that's not fair, is it? But who has time to listen, right? Oh, we've got to get on to the next, 60 years here before the end of the year or the end of the school year. So, turn the page, students. And that's as deep as we go.
This breaking bombshell, that I sent out, hey, that happened 3 days ago, and it was sent to me by my neighbor that is not on my list, and I sent it out to her, and she said, "Oh, you're way behind the time. That person that reported it, the whistleblower, he's got suicide. No, he didn't commit suicide." She said, "You're way behind the time. That's old news."
Yeah. 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 Well, yeah, and that's part of the problem is people hear things at different times and they conflate it with whatever else that they're listening to, and it's hard to sort out.
By the way, have you noticed? I put that on Facebook, and guess what? Disappeared. I mean, a lot of stuff is disappearing on my Facebook.
Well, even Trump's tweets have disappeared.
Yeah, I just got a text from Steve, one of my friends. You've heard him. He said I had to subscribe since they dumped him and Melissa and a bunch of others off of YouTube. I mean, you have to go out searching. Ward, he's not on YouTube anymore. Charlie Ward, Dr. Charlie Ward. No, he's on another platform. Phew. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go because this is more that I just can't take anymore. I mean, I got to rest my brain.
I know. We got to step back sometimes and chill out and then come back, with maybe you sorted some things out or you've got a few more questions you want to dive into or listen to a few more people. But you can only handle so much in one time. I run the same thing. I listen to so much. I go, wait a minute, who said that? I'm lucky to be able to say which day or who, much less what was this, the gist of the story. Yeah, there's only so much you can handle. You're doing the best you can, and if you take a class in school, they give you 6, 8, or 10 weeks or whatever it is you're taking it, and then you go and you study it, and you try and memorize this, and this to get ready for an examination. You get to go over it, over and over and over it. But this stuff, it just keeps going, coming and going, and there's just so many threads to all this. Yeah. Let's see, even Rudy Giuliani has surfaced lately, threatening to go after someone. I forget who. You can't even remember who it was. But if we were talking 20 years ago, it would have been huge news, and everyone would have been talking about that one thing. But it's just one drop in the bucket in a day, or a week. Yeah.
Okay.
So, we're just there's a lot of that's we're experiencing it maybe for the first time. It's information overload.
Hey, we've seen nothing. But
you know what? We're staying with it. We're not letting go. I know a lot of people. They say, "Oh man, I'm tired of waiting for my 800 number. I just kind of dropped off." Or they haven't been following the trail. You can tell by talking to them. But we are. See, and that I think that's something that we're to be commended for. I guess you can look at me 30, 40 years ago not following a lot of things other people were trailing, and I'd say, well, it wasn't right for me at the time, but this is my time. And we're enriched by following the story. It's a real story.
Hey, but you know what? Yeah. You mentioned anything about mainstream media, the opposite to it. And I'm telling you what, it's like you're some sort of an outcast. I don't know what other word to say. You're an outcast. You're stupid. You're idiot. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're a... Ooh.
Yeah. I hear this from other people, who have family we are as people and how we get to know things. Yeah. Very easy to be manipulated, I'll tell you. Very easy. You can just tell people what to think, and that's it. It kind of reminds me when I was a kid. My grandmother said, "No, I'm not going to read the newspaper. I just want to see the headline." That's the news.
Well,
and I didn't know any better. Well, I didn't think too much of it. But I look back and I say, "Oh yeah, that's what a lot of people do." Just catch the top of the news hour, and if I want to wait any longer, then all these people will tell me what else to think about it. Who have no business telling me. They're supposed to be reporting the news instead of telling me how to think about it.
I'll go one step further. I don't read anything or listen to anything. I don't, unless it's somebody I really, 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 really like. I wait till everybody else listens to it and then ask for a 2-sentence synopsis of what was in it. Same thing as just give me the headline.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how we are. Even us. We don't have the time or the ability to remember everything that we think is important down at the detail level. So we talk a little bit in generalities and so on, and that's how life goes.
I wish that we
like
could
you
have...
said, World War II will be covered in 5 pages in your history book, and that's it. And we're still learning about that war and the Civil War and maybe the causes of it. Just thinking about the Pasteur thing.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
That's big and huge in the background leading up to the Civil War. We didn't know that.
I'm listening to that, and it's total mind-boggling. Just absolutely total over the top.
Yeah.
Just,
you just, if you follow the bloodlines and so on, and the history, if you have the time, or someone does, and you're willing to listen to it because they put it together for you, there's another path to follow for, the power structure and so on, and how everyone gets connected. Was I reading about, Peter Strzok's wife was in the SEC and a lawyer, and she was going after somebody who wasn't cooperating on the FBI side, like where he's coming from.
Oh boy! Oh my!
Inside of his own family, she's attacking.
Yeah.
I think if I have that story right, I thought, it's all in the family,
Well, and that's all these people.
Like Dianne Feinstein's husband, making lots of money, and she's sending over, basically helping to legislate things in that direction. So he's ready to catch all that money coming out of the federal coffers, etc. Just goes on and on.
Well, with that, I'm going to have to sign off, my friend. My mind's ready to explode.
Well, it's good to talk about, what it is to be human, and deal with all that. But we're doing our best, and we're just taking it a day at a time, Don.
It's all I can do to take 1 minute at a time.
Okay.
Okay, my friend. I'm going to go relax. I'm going to go for a walk.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Take care.
Yeah, bye.